love to see that they're actually using the general manager's signature here. Somebody's taking ownership of the feedback process, which we love to see. Hey there, Jeff from Guest Insight. Welcome to another episode of So You Want My Feedback, part of the Feedback Matters podcast and YouTube channel. And in this series, we go through real life asks for feedback from different types of companies. Most of them are in the hospitality space because that's our core business. As always, these are real life asks that we get as part of just living our daily lives, and we go through them live. So we haven't looked at them ahead of time, and we react based on what we know as far as doing this for the last 25 years. And we are looking to point out best practices and sometimes not such best practices. So let's dive into my computer now and take a look at a feedback request from a hotel that my wife and I stayed at recently. A couple days after we checked out, received an email in my inbox, and this is what it looks like. Because this is part of our podcast, it's both video and audio. Some folks may choose to just listen to the podcast or the episode, and so I will read most of everything so that it is useful and meaningful to someone who is listening only. So bear with me as I read most of the text that comes across my screen. One other administrative note or housekeeping note is that we don't divulge who the survey platform is or who the company or hospitality company or hotel is in this case, because that's not what this is about. This is just about best practices in asking guests or customers for feedback and conducting surveys and designing surveys and being guest or customer centric. So, as I mentioned, a couple of days after checking out from our hotel, I received in my inbox this email from the hotel, and let's go through it piece by piece, and we will I'll comment as I go through it. So, subject line is tell us about your stay at name of the hotel and location of the hotel. Again, not divulging who it is because that's really not what this is about, but it's about what they're doing and how they're asking. And they do tell me when I was there. They both the check-in date and the check-out date. They tell me where the location was in case I stay at a lot of hotels and I don't recall, which is good. Can't be bad to provide enough information or more than enough information for me to remember what this is all about. Then scrolling down the page or the email. Okay, so based on the email, I can see that this was run by an outside survey platform. That's where this email came from. Again, not going to divulge who it is because that's not important. And the email address that it's from is the brand of the hotel because this hotel is part of a global organization and a division within it. And so it's the email address that it's from is the global brand at the survey platform.com, which is neither here nor there, just for informational purposes. I'm just sharing that. Then as we look down the page, there is a logo of the division of this global brand. There's a photograph of the property that we stayed at. And then as we look farther down, here's the text. Dear, my name, thank you for your recent stay. Your feedback is important to us. Please take a moment to tell us about your experience. And it says, heading says again, tell us about your stay. Below that, again, it reminds me the dates of the stay, the check-in date and the check-out date, and again, the name of the hotel. And here's where the request for my feedback starts. How likely are you to recommend name of the hotel to a friend or business associate? And then below that, there are 10 choices, and it's it's a version of our old friend Net Promoter Score, which we've seen a lot over the course of this series. And there are, in this case, it's usually an 11-point scale, 0 being not at all likely and 10 being extremely likely. However, here it is a 10-point scale, 1 through 10. 1, not at all likely, and 10, extremely likely. So the only comment I will make here, and I'll get into it, I'm sure, as this goes on, because it'll probably come up a little bit later, is that we are not big fans of Net Promoter Score because we don't feel uh, the quick way to look at this. The bottom line is that we don't feel that recommendation is on a likelihood scale when a transaction has been completed. Again, done with my stay at this hotel, I should know whether this hotel is worthy of my recommendation. As far as the change in scale here, from an 11-point scale to 10-point scale, too many points is our feeling. As far as if you're going to use a likelihood scale, we much prefer to see something smaller, like a 5-point scale. And because this is a 10-point scale, there's no midpoint. At least with the 11-point scale, someone can be non-committal. Here, you have to choose whether you're more on the not likely or likely side of the equation. But again, for us, this is usually a yes or no question. It should say, would you recommend this hotel to a friend or business associate? I'll come back and do the rating in a second. Let me just finish the text of the email. We appreciate your opinion and look forward to welcoming you again soon. Sincerely, and it's signed by the general manager, his or her name, general manager, and then the name of the hotel. And then below that, it says, by completing this survey, you may be contacted by the hotel to help improve the quality of service provided. Okay, all that's fine. Love to see that they're actually using the general manager's signature here. Somebody's taking ownership of the feedback process, which we love to see. That's how it should be. So let's move back up and let me actually do the rating. So again, for us, like recommendation is not a likelihood question. It is a yes or no question. It's binary. And so for me, in this particular case, this was a great stay. It's a wonderful hotel. It's beautiful, great location, clean, just great. Loved it. One of I would say in the top 10 hotel stays of the last, I don't know, go back 10, 15 years. Fantastic. So for me, it's yes, I would certainly recommend this hotel. So again, because it's a likelihood scale, I have to choose something here. And for me, it's always going to be either one extreme or another. So here I will say extremely likely, and let's see what happens. Okay, once I hit my rating there, I chose 10. My browser opens up to a new window, and you can see here that at the top of the page, there's a logo of the division of the global brand. There is a language picker. I should say this was an international stay. I'm based in the United States, but this hotel was not in the United States. And so there's a language picker here, and the default is English for me. I'm not sure if they're detecting it or not, that I'm using an English. I don't remember if there was any preference when I made the reservation or not, but the default here is English. And then if I click the drop down box, the drop down list, I should say, there are lots of choices here. So that's good. That's great to have that functionality, especially in an international hotel that does attract folks. It's in Europe, and it does attract folks from all over the world. So as we can see here, they repeat the question that's in the email. How likely are you to recommend name of the hotel to a friend or business associate? And it's captured my answer that I click through in the email. That's great functionality. And then below that, there is an open-ended free-form text box that I can type into. And the prompt is, please tell us all about this stay, which I will do right now. So that's what I'm going to enter here. Let's see if there's more opportunity to go on about the stay. But for now, let's go with that. So that's it for this page. I will click the next button at the bottom of the page. Okay, here we go. So there are a number of attributes to rate here. It says, please rate the following aspects of your recent stay. There are three attributes: maintenance and upkeep, cleanliness, and staff service. And again, we're using a 10-point scale here. There are only two labels on the scale, one at either end. One is the low end, and the label is poor, and then 10 is the top end of the scale, and the label is excellent. Again, would like to see either more labels or a smaller scale. And again, the other comment here is that because it's 1 through 10, there is no midpoint. So they are forcing folks to be either positive or negative here. There's no non-committal, which ultimately, when there's some math done with this and there's some analysis, um, they're pushing people to one end or another, and that will be reflected in the analysis, which it is what it is. Hopefully, whoever is digesting the analysis is aware of that and takes that into consideration. Anyway, so let's go on, and I will do the ratings. Maintenance and upkeep. Everything cleaned. Everything seemed clean. Everything seemed to be in very good shape and certainly in working order. We'll give it a 10. Cleanliness, again, clean. I already mentioned that. And the staff service, everybody was fantastic. 10s across the board for me. I can go back and change my answer, I assume. Let's do that. Yep. But we're going to go on now and click the next button. Okay. Again, the format of the page is very clean and um, laid out nicely. The one thing I will say is that the logo at the top, again, is for the division of the global brand. And the only identification or the place where they identify the specific property is in the text of the wording on each of the screens. So on this screen, it says, thinking about the amenities and services you experienced at the name of the hotel, please rate the following. So here, again, we're using the 10-point scale with the two polar labels, poor for 1, 10 for excellent, but they've now added a separate did not use button to the end of each of the attributes, because in this case, as opposed to on the previous screen, there might be some of these things which don't apply. So this is pretty good design in that they're not forcing an answer here that wouldn't be appropriate. That said, the 10-point scale I've already commented on. So here are the three attributes here: spa services, for example, massage, treatment, facial, food and beverage, and fitness center. So spa services didn't use, so we will click the did not use radio button. Food and beverage did use, had breakfasts. So, and it was excellent. So we'll go 10 there. And then the fitness center did not use. Let's move on. Okay, next page is, so I did on the previous page select food and beverage. So here is a follow-up to the previous page, because I did mention that we use food and beverage. And actually, now that I'm thinking about it, we actually ate dinner there one night as well in one of the restaurants. So here they are actually listing all of their food and beverage outlets at the property. And now I'm going to have the opportunity to rate each of them. So this is good functionality. I'm assuming that this is a follow-up. I guess we can test that. So again, if I go back here, and if I did click did not use for food and beverage, I would assume that that screen following up about the specific food and beverage outlets would not appear. Let's test that. And I was correct. It does not. Good functionality. Well done. So let's go back. We'll click food and beverage, and now let's see how and what we're going to be rating. So we did eat at this restaurant. We did have a drink at this bar. We did not uh, have the brunch. We did not do in-room dining. We did not have event catering. No other, and then none. So none, I guess, is a fail-safe if you accidentally click that you did use food and beverage outlets, but then remembered that you did not. So I guess that's okay. Um, so the restaurant was both for dinner and breakfast for us, and then the bar. So let's see if we're going to be rating those two F&B outlets. Okay, this is nice. So again, this is good layout, a good layout. So they have two attributes to rate for each of the outlets, and they've put them both on one screen. I would assume if I had selected more, I will not test that to keep this at a reasonable length, keep this episode at a reasonable length. But I would assume that they would go on to another screen, or they would just have me scroll down if necessary, if there were more outlets that we used. But there's two attributes for each of the F&B outlets. They are service and quality of the food. Um, I There could be more. I would say that there could be some more attributes that they could get into here, but let's see what happens. Maybe there's going to be another screen, but this is kind of top level attributes to rate for each of the F&B outlets, but I think that's okay. Again, 10-point scale, same labels, 1 for poor, 10 for excellent, nothing in between. There's a not applicable radio button for each attribute here, which uh, if I'm gonna nitpick a little bit, because I've already said that I've eaten or dined at these locations, really shouldn't that be necessary to put that not applicable radio button here, but we'll let that go. So the restaurant where we had dinner and breakfast, service was excellent. Quality of the food was excellent in all cases. And then for the bar that we had a drink at, the service again was excellent, and the quality of the food. See, here's where what I was getting at before. So we had drinks at this bar, but we really didn't have food, and it's mostly a bar, so they could have gone into a little bit more detail here or separated that out. But the drinks were great, so let's just go 10 there, and then we can move on. Okay, so let's see what this screen says. So before I say that, so there was no more detail in rating those two F&B outlets. Could have gone into a little bit more detail, but I'm okay with it. I kind of like how this survey is pretty simple and easy to get through. They could get a little bit more granular with what they're trying to learn about the specific amenities and facilities, but it's okay. All right, so let's see this screen. So it starts out and says the division of the global brand strives to enable our guests to experience the destination in a meaningful and authentic way. How well does name the hotel deliver on this promise? Hmm. So this is a little confusing to me because I don't necessarily know that all of the properties that are part of this division are located um, in destinations that kind of need to be experienced in a certain way. So this is a bit of a confusing question for me. Um, and again, it has the 10-point scale, poor being 1, 10 being excellent, nothing in between. And then below that, there's a text box, a free-form text box where I can enter my own open-ended response to that prompt to explain why I gave that answer above. I'm really not sure how to answer this. Did the hotel allow me to, or allow us to experience the destination, meaning the city? Again, this was in Europe. It was a city, it was an urban property in a city, obviously, in Europe. Did it help us experience the destination in a meaningful and authentic way? I I don't really have a response to this. I'm not going to answer it because it didn't really apply, I don't think. This could have been the only thing I could say is that the people who were on staff were very nice and pleasant, but I don't think that that helped us experience the destination in a meaningful and authentic way. Um, so I don't know. You know what? I'm going to actually say I don't understand this question. I mean, if I get killed in the comments here, that's fine, but this is not meaningful to me. I'm sorry, and they're asking for my feedback. So to me, this is not meaningful. It did not help me or us, I should say, experience the city or the country in any meaningful way. It was a great stay, but it could have been a great stay anywhere. This could have been in any city in the world, and the only thing that was localized or particular to the location was the people were nice, but they could have been nice anywhere, and they spoke both English and I would assume their native language as well. So for me, this is not meaningful. They're letting me go on. They're not forcing me to answer that, which I respect and I do like. So I'm not sure if there's some interesting reasoning for having that question. Next screen. How would you rate the performance of name of the hotel, the staff of the hotel on the following? Same 10-point scale, same labels, poor and excellent at the either end. And here are the two attributes: anticipated your needs and delivered a personalized experience. So anticipated your needs has come up before in some of these episodes, and it's a hotel. So at most hotels, the baseline set of needs is pretty well set. So beyond that, I'm not really sure what they're looking for. So I don't love the wording of this. Um, that said, they were certainly prepared to provide a great experience, a great hospitality or lodging experience on every. They clicked on all cylinders. So for that, I will say excellent, and delivered a personalized experience. Um, they called us by our names, Mr. and Mrs., which is, I suppose, meeting that attribute as best you can. So we'll give them a 10 there. And then let's move on. And now we're getting into some segmentation. They want to learn more about the makeup of who is staying at their hotel. And so here are the categories they're looking for. What was the primary reason for your trip? And that's highlighted. So business, individual meeting, or conference/convention. It was not leisure, individual, couple, friends, family, event/wedding. So it was leisure and as a couple. Move on. Would you like to answer additional questions about your stay or submit a public review? I don't know. I'll take a look though, and my choices here are yes or no. So let's see what happens if we click yes. Okay, so now that's the end of the survey portion of this exercise. It says, thanks for completing the survey. Now share your experience at name of the hotel with others on the global brand's website. And then there's some wording about what they're going to do. We want to publish your review, so please focus on your individual stay or experience. Do not include any personally identifiable information such as full names or emails. Do not use inappropriate language. And now they're asking me to do my overall review rating. And if I scroll down, so there's a lot of information here. So now the overall review rating is on the what's now pretty standard in the industry as far as, or not only in the industry, just on reviews, or standard with reviews in general for all types of products and services, a 5-point scale, which we again love and think it should be used in surveys as well. So, and it's a typical 5-point rating: poor, fair, average, good, or excellent. We scroll down, and then you have to provide a title. Then you write your free form review. And now there's using the same 5-point scale. Please rate the name of the hotel in the following areas: cleanliness, location, value for money, dining, amenities, and service. So some of the attributes we rated in the survey or evaluated in the survey do appear here, some do not. So interestingly, location does not appear in the survey. Value for money does not appear in the survey, but everything else kind of does. Let's move on. And now, which of these describe your traveler type on this recent stay? So this is repetitive because we already did that in that segmentation screen before. And now we can um, designate how our review profile name is going to appear. And then there's you have to accept their terms. And then at the way bottom, at the end of the page, we can either post this review on the Global Brands website and submit the survey, or we can skip the review and submit the survey. So that's what we're going to do. And that is the very end of this feedback request. It says, thank you for your feedback. We look forward to serving you in the future. And that's it. So let's wrap it up. Overall, I liked how this survey flowed. We're starting to see, or not even starting, we've been seeing for a while now, at the end of guest surveys, there is an opportunity to create a review and post it somewhere, especially with the larger brands. They're posting them directly on their own websites. Sometimes we see pass-throughs to some of the review platforms. It seems to create a bunch of work extra for the guests, so the way it usually is presented. So I think that will probably change over time, but that's kind of where we are, the state of where we are as far as that goes right now. As far as the survey itself, clean layout, fairly easy to get through. Not great detail on the F&B outlets. Don't love the 10-point scale for the reasons that I mentioned before, but overall, it's fine. They're definitely going to get some good feedback and good data that they can use going forward. So that's it. Thanks for listening or watching to this episode of So You Want My Feedback, part of the Feedback Matters podcast and YouTube channel. And I hope to see you again soon on another episode. Take care.